10 September, World Suicide Prevention Day. As I reflect on the last 20 plus years of working in the field of mental health, I feel that where so much has changed in its own way, but what remains to be changed is almost stuck in time. And to me, that is the narrative. The narrative of stigma and the narrative of inaction. And what is left is a little bit of conversation, some hashtags, some posts, and 10 September, World Suicide Prevention Day. Year on year, this day comes. Year on year, we talk about suicide prevention. Suicide Prevention Day may well be trending today. But somehow, the remaining 364 days, we lose the narrative. Even today, millions suffer in silence when it comes to mental health. Even today, people are hesitant to seek help. The stigma, the perceived discrimination, the feeling that how will people look at me? Will they criticize me? Will they make fun of me? Will they say I am weak? And people don't seek help, they hesitate. And suicide prevention, these two words go together. Because suicide is preventable. In spite of that, we continue to lose hundreds and thousands of lives to suicide, which is preventable. As I reflect and look at the narrative that happens around suicide, our language still needs to change, the choice of words, death by suicide and not committed suicide. Our nature of conversation, including reportage, that needs to change. Not the sensational headline, the methodology, more importantly, the conjecture, the lack of focus on the loss, the emotional aspect and the preventable aspect. So focused our conversation is what happened just around that at that time, and not realizing that there is a longitudinal axis. Yes, mental health plays a significant part. Unidentified, untreated depression, other mental ailments. At the same time, we cannot not give importance to economic factors, social factors. There is a multiple pronged approach that is required to suicide prevention. That's how we'll be able to change the narrative, where everyone realizes what they can do by being the stakeholder. At school level, mental health curriculum, media literacy, anti-bullying work, skill building with young people, work around substance use. At college level, continue with this work. Make psychological first aid an integral part of our lives, education and workplaces. Integration of workplace mental health. Access to mental health services. The narrative of mental health in workplaces, where people can actually feel psychologically safe to be able to express themselves. The support systems in RWAs and societies. The investment in meaningful relationships. The economic support system. where those who are struggling get the right time, the right kind of support at the right time. Policy, approach, CSR, all of these need to come together. Media houses, social media, helplines. But we will need to find the solution and provide the solution by giving the access to the individual struggling at that moment in time. And this requires a concentrated effort which is beyond hashtags, which is beyond one day a year. Integration of mental health by healthcare providers. Looking at various aspects of ensuring access, timely intervention, and the solution when individuals are struggling. We need to come out of the sensational conversations. We need to come out of the stigmatized conversations. The narrative needs to be humanized. The narrative needs to find its empathy. The narrative needs to find its compassion. And most important, it needs to find intentionality. The intentionality that I will do my best. You may be a student, talk about mental health, psychological first aid. You may be a leader at a workplace. Make it a psychological safe place. Help people integrate. Help people focus on relationships. You may be a social media platform. Ask yourselves, how can you contribute? You're a policy maker. Prioritize mental health. All of us need to do something. That's how the narrative changes. One conversation here and there, a hashtag here and there, 2 talks here, 2 seminars there, 1 post here. This is not the change. A narrative changes when the societal change happens, where we realize and accept that suicide prevention is a collective failure of this society at large to not being able to help individuals struggling at a given moment in time. That's the narrative that needs to change. Take a pledge. Make sure that you contribute to the cause of suicide prevention directly, individually. Take the responsibility, change the narrative. If all of us decide to change the narrative in our own little parts, these parts will come together and the narrative will be of support, of acceptance, of compassion, of intervention. And that has to be the goal, the message when it comes to suicide prevention. Don't let this World Suicide Prevention Day just go like any other day. Let it stir something in you. We are a part of the narrative. The narrative needs to change. We change the narrative.